Is the stream working? When I see that, we can go. Come on, stream. Yes, we're in. We're live. We're in the YouTubes. Everything is there. Everything is in place. We are in place. Bam. Let's go. All right. Finally, let's go. How are you guys today? Da? You're fine? How was this week so far? Was it interesting? Some cool things happening? Yeah? A lot of information? Cool. Well, that's the first week of 4 years. So, very what? Adjusting. Da, and us too. And us too. Like, it's a new year, new people, new world. So, remember that you can always come to me on any moment, whatever you need. Like, really. It's part of my job. So, I get paid for that, and I also like to do it. So, just use that. Today's lecture is called The World Before DOS Part 1. And I have a couple of, let's say, aspirations of what we're going to achieve today. So that's how, I see that you're not laughing because it means that this was frozen. So that's how we start our thing. I mean, we're going to be talking from the times of the caves or something like that. And we're going to be going way back in time. Just in case somebody comes on Google Meet, I'm not sharing my screen. I forgot to do that, so let me just do that, and that's it. Okay, here we go. So we're going to be seeing all this history. What do I want, kind of, most importantly for me today, is that you identify the concept of the recording medium, and then you leave it in your head. I want you to identify this awesome size of music history, and describe the stages of recorded music history. I want to separate the knowledge and music creation. We discussed this a lot. And I want to discuss the uses of music as a language of storytelling. Okay? That's kind of what I'm going. If I'm successful, you can start imagining like how to create music from the perspective of technology. You can think about the historical meditation that it means that we are in such a long history wave. You're also going to be able to see things in the history of music that can help you to understand how to navigate modernity. And I also think that you can continue your research and keep expanding your musical palette and growing as a music teller. So, by the way, this song that you're going to hear now, if this YouTube video appears, is a song called the Hurrian Hymn to Nikal, number 6. It's a song that was created in the year 1400 before Christ. So that song is 3,600 years ago, something like that. So let's have a listen for a couple of minutes, just for the vibe. You know, let's go and hear something really old. Sounds like the intro of a Goa trance song or something like that. We will not hear the whole piece. I just wanted us to feel something very old, because we're going to be talking about very old things today. And if you're interested in this kind of stuff, I recommend you to go to our Google Classroom. And in our Google Classroom, I put you here. I will be adding a lot of stuff there called Music for the Soul. And there is an ancient section there. And there is a guy called Peter Pringle. He was not the creator of the chips, but anyways. he was creator of some YouTube channel that it's he is performing super ancient songs. I mean, he's really like he knows how to play like super old instruments, and it's really interesting YouTube channel. Like he goes and displays to you like, you know, how this harp from Persia sounded and stuff. Like he's really cool. So if any of you may be interested in listening to this, there is like a ancient music playlist that I made, and also some Peter Pringle for that. So we belong to the same tradition as our ancestors, and that's something that, I don't know, do you feel this or you don't feel this? Like, do you feel that, you know, I saw you dancing there in the previous room, like, do you think this is the same tradition as Bach? Or you don't think so? Why? How does it work? What's the name of this goalkeeper from the Soviet Union? Lev Yashin, it was very famous, maybe, like a football goalkeeper. What's the name? Yeah, like, I mean, it was like the Black Spider was called, something like that. People were calling it like that in the West, at least. So, Lev Yashin, right? So you all know who am I talking about? Does he forms part of the same football tradition as Cristiano Ronaldo? Like, yeah, I mean, it's different football times, right? And they were playing football very differently back then, but they all form part of football. And I think that it's important kind of that they feel this identity. I don't know, it's like, and I personally, I think, I mean, Bach and us, of course, I recognize that Bach is, I consider Bach infinitely 10 million times more deep than somebody like me. I do recognize this difference. I think that if Bach and Skrillex will have a competition of you know, of who knows more about music theory, I think that Skrillex will win. Obviously not. Sure. Epic rap battles of history. Yeah, it's like, I think Bach versus Mozart versus Skrillex. It's excellent. Yeah, it's really good. But my point is that, I mean, I want to kind of get you in the same mindset as I am, and my mindset is that we are in the same history, and that when I'm creating a little song at home, I don't feel like Bach, because I really respect Bach. I think Bach was maybe one of the greatest musicians that ever lived, and I don't like to fall in love with my own creations. But I don't know, I feel like it's like when I play football, I love to play football, by the way, and when I play football, I mean, I'm obviously not playing in Manchester United or something, but I'm doing the same thing as Cristiano Ronaldo is doing, kind of, and that's a cool thing, you know, to think and to know that you're a part of the tradition. So, and that tradition is very old. And I had a moment, or sorry for this noise, I don't know why it's causing it. I had a little epiphany in my life one day, you know. I was thinking, as I was growing up, I was thinking like, fuck, are we in the year 2022? Are we really in the year 2022? Like, what does that mean? Maybe we are, I mean, obviously we're not in the year 2022. This is 2022 after the birth of Christ. I mean, there is like a lot of other years before the year zero, what we consider. And when I started feeling that, I don't know, for me, everything I started doing became more interesting. I don't know if this is going to happen to you or if it has happened to you, but I felt a lot more strong. I was like, you know, I was like kind of like, yeah, like, I mean, I'm surfing this wave, and this wave is like 100,000 years. Like, we are in the year 100,000. We're not in the year 2000. And that's kind of, for me, was a shocking revelation, you know, just to realize that this is the case. And when I make music, I'm thinking a lot about this. And you will see today, I'm going to show you one of my songs, and we're going to analyze one of my songs. That's one of the things I want to do today with you, and to explain you how I think about music and how I create music and why I create it. And what does it mean to me to form a part of this tradition. But the only reason why I'm mentioning this to you is because I want you to feel stronger, you know, when you make stuff. Because really, what's the difference between you and this and Mozart? I mean, you have to recognize that Mozart, you have to recognize that Mozart is a colossus, right? It's cool, but I mean, I don't know. Have you ever met one of your musical heroes? Any of you has met any of your musical heroes? In life person, like just like, hey, how are you? Yeah. Who was this person? And how was? No, I don't think so. How was this experience?
There was a concert in Известия like
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 years ago. I went with my group mate
Да?
or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you met her, and she was a person, right? And it was like a normal person. Da? Yeah. Exactly. It's a person. It's a person. Anybody of you want to share a story like this? Like, did you met your hero sometimes or something? Da? Uh-huh. That's really cool when it happens. Cool. Great. Is this person here in Russia? It's like a friend of yours or something? Super. Super. Who else? You want to share your story? Mm-hmm. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, of course. Thanks for doing music. You wanted to say something? Mm-hmm. Okay. What's your city? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Cool. Mm-hmm. Well, you see, he's very much of a person. He feels also this kind of like, I don't know, urge. Hmm. So it was suspiciously, not suspiciously, but awkwardly. Sure. Sure, sure, sure. And I mean, my whole point with this is that these are people. I'll tell you one of my stories. I once was in London, and I was sitting there. Uh, I had a big day in the city. Actually, this is not a story of somebody that I admire particularly, but you will see. It's a cool story. Like, I was had a big day in the city. I was really tired, came back home, and sat down, opened Twitter, and it was Flying Lotus made a tweet like, playing in London tonight with Battles. And I don't know if you know what Battles is, but it's an amazing band from New York. And I don't know if you know who Flying Lotus is, but it's an amazing artist from LA. And these two guys combined, I was like, holy shit, I gotta go there. So I just got immediately on my bike and went to the show, found some tickets there, and then I was making a queue to enter to the show. And there was somebody in front of me, and I noticed that many people were checking out this person, you know, like, and I was like, oh, wow, who it is? And this person had a very strange jacket, like a big jacket with four balls, like little balls of color, like many of them, like, imagine like a black jacket, and then like ball of color, like a lot of balls of colors. And when I look, it was Björk. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, holy shit, that's Björk. And so I tell you a little Latin American fishka or joke. When you bother somebody in Latin America, if ya te vi a mí shy, we say, te estoy tocando las pelotas. Like, I'm touching your balls. Sorry, but that's how it is. I mean, we just say it like that. And so, tocarme las pelotas, and even ladies can say this, like, que no me toques las pelotas, por favor. It's just like that. And I was like, le estoy tocando las pelotas a Björk. You know, I touched this like little ball of fur, and I was thinking like, haha, I'm bothering Björk in Latin American. So anyways, whatever. No, I met Omar Rodriguez Lopez. He's my superstar hero, and I spoke with him like 45 minutes or something backstage. Like, it was really cool. And yeah, these musicians are people. You are people too. Of course, I think that it's great to remain being like a fan of things and never become cynical. And I think that I will always be a fan of things, and whatever. We're in the same tradition. But I mean, I also, because we're in a bachelor's and we're discussing also music technology, it's kind of like one of our main topics. our path inside this music world is connected to technology very much. So it's not only connected to people. I like this definition of technology. It's like straight from Wikipedia. It's like, this is a really cool one. Like science of craft from Greek. We can read it like it's kind of like techli or whatever. Techne or techno, right? Great. Art, skill, or cunning of hand. That's a really nice one. And logia, which is kind of like logic, is the sum of techniques, skills, methods, and processes used to create something. So yeah, we use technology to create music, just like we use technology to create something else. So we're going to be talking about human things and technological things today. We're going to talk about music as an innate biological tool. We're going to stop for a moment and discuss a brief history of time, literally of the whole world. We're going to discuss music as a storytelling tool. That's what we're going to do today. And we're going to talk about three epochs: the oral tradition, the music notation era, and the recorded era. This lecture is like 2 parts, so the other part will be tomorrow, I think, like part 1 and part 2. And today, we're going to stop here in the oral tradition. That's all what we're going to do today. But you will see, it's quite a bit. So, big question. So, do animals make music or not? What do you think? You say no. I see a no there. No, they don't make music. No, they don't. They make sounds and stuff. And you can create music without knowing it. No, and
Why not? It's a way of communication,
it's a way of communication, yes.
and for some, I know this bird.
Yeah, I put it on purpose. Yeah, it's the birth of paradise. Yeah,
That
yeah,
the thing is that the way of communication it's different types of singing,
yeah.
and the catharsis it's like the main idea of what do they want. Like for example, mate with female.
Yes, they want to mate or something, and they make a song to mate.
If the song is successful, they got the girl, and this is like
But you see that well, I mean, that means that there is some sort of like music critic there. I mean, listening to the song, that's a good song. You know, I'm gonna totally get laid with you or something.
they have like their
Each bird.
own, yeah, each
Mhm.
bird has its own idea.
Yeah,
An instinct to sing something, but there is no instinct to sing exactly the same thing.
sure. So they don't have like something like a song because it's not repeatable or
Yes,
reproducible
and
or.
in this case, each bird has its own, like, I don't know, natural idea of how to attract attention.
We here are saying that animals don't make music, but there is a branch of I don't know of I guess it's a branch of zoology which is called zoomusicology. So I mean, it really exists. Like there are people who are really studying this seriously and asking that question more formally than us here. I think that, I mean, I don't know. I'm really confused about these questions, like about this question because. For example, I expect that if we go to another planet and we meet aliens, I expect that they're going to have music. I really do expect this. Because I think that these things transcend the whole fabric of the universe. I mean, they're not just like something that only humans do. And I think that that's my opinion. I'm not telling you that this is the truth. I obviously don't know. I'm just telling you what's my opinion about this question. It's like, I think that animals love. It's just like we see it from a human perspective and we don't understand this, but I think that animals love. I think that animals suffer. I think that animals miss. You know, I have a cat that I found in a trash can, and I took this cat when he was a baby. Somebody threw it in the trash, and I took it to my home. And this cat lived for 4 years in Dacha already. And I come to Dacha every once in 2 months or something. And when I come, he's like, "Yeah, man, what's up?" Like, and he misses me. Like, and I mean, if he remembers me, and it's such a simple cat, like, I don't know, maybe animals are more complex than what we think. That's what I'm trying to say. I see your point. I mean, and there are people who answered categorically, no, animals don't make music. My answer is more like, I really have no idea. I really don't know. I think that there is an argument to say yes, and there's an argument to say no. Like dolphins and whales, you know, they have really complex singing patterns, and who knows if those songs are 10,000 years old? Like, we really don't know. And maybe they're repeating the same song forever. We just don't know. Where I'm going with this point that I'm starting here is that, okay, we cannot answer this question. Some of them have the opinion that no, yes, but it seems like animals and the emission of sounds that have a certain pattern, they kind of go together. This happens in nature. None of you are parents, I think. None of you are parents. But when you're a parent, you see some really interesting things that help you to understand this question. Because I wanted to ask you a question. If you don't know what music is, can you make it? Yes. Okay, so why animals can't make music? You see, like, they don't know? But man, if I show you a song, I'm so angry. Check out this song. I'm communicating with you. I'm just telling you an idea. No, and also, and also, you know, the female or whatever. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I don't know if dolphins have a culture. I really don't know if dolphins have a culture. In the case of dolphins, it's a sure, but it's an animal still. Like I don't know. This is not connected to this topic, but I don't. This is really interesting. Like in India right now, you cannot put a dolphin in a captivity because dolphins are declared by the state non-human persons. It's literally like they have a legal status, and the legal status is non-human person. Like a delphinarium in India is illegal. Like you will go to prison like as if you will make a humanarium or something.
In this case, I have another question
Da.
about like children, because
Yeah.
if you ever had a communication with a toddler, for example,
Yeah.
you can, see how little kids are maybe singing something.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're sitting, playing, and like, is this a music for them, or they are communicating with like?
I think it's music.
Or something?
Like I think that, like, for example, I've seen in like I told you, I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I have seen the 1-year-old expressing things to me that go beyond the language that he has. I mean, he's obviously telling me like man, give me that thing, but he doesn't know how to say it. He's just saying and he really pushes it, and he tells me and he's like, you want this thing, okay, like he doesn't know that's a headphone. Anyways, we will stay talking about this for hours, and we will never reach to any conclusion. The reason why I present this question is just to show you how hard it is to answer it, and also to show you that there is a relevant question there. If not, there wouldn't be no musicology branch in science, first. And secondly, I mean, hey, come on, it's an interesting question. We really cannot answer that question. I feel you there, that you are like so sure that it's not, that they don't make music. But I don't know, have you seen these videos? There are videos of elephants painting, like a full painting and stuff. Like, who knows? Who knows? The point is that this is deep, and this runs inside our culture and inside our ancestors, And I mean, from peoples that were very ancient to modern man, we have always been making music. And for those of you who are parents or who have kids or who have experience with kids, you know that kids really interact with music very early. So there is somebody wants to say something, or sorry, there is a branch of music, of anthropology too, called ethnomusicology. And I actually know quite. Sorry, I just don't know why it's happening. It's just something with the signal of this. There is a branch of anthropology, and actually know quite a bit of ethnomusicologists, who are people who are studying the cultural and social aspects of the people who make it and all of this. So this is a cool question that has a lot of answers. And by the way, when you join this bachelor's, I don't expect all of you to go and be like a famous musician or a famous sound engineer. I wish I could inspire you. Maybe some of you decide I want to make plugins, or I want to make hardware, or I want to become an ethnomusicologist. I mean, all I want is to make music freaks, and that's what we're doing in all the areas. So now this goes connected to the same question. If somebody is dancing, are they expressing to you that they understand that the waveforms coming to their ears are music? So even if they don't know what music is, I mean, they hear the beat. I mean, but what I'm trying to is like they don't understand like, there is a concept of something called music. It's just like I'm there, I hear something, and what do you think? There is a lecture, I mean, there is a whole lecture that is going to come after these technical parts. Yeah. I have a definition, I have an answer, I mean, not an answer, but I have a, when somebody asks me what is music, and we're going to have a lecture which is just called like that, what is music, and we will explore that question deeply, so we will go in there and see it. But for me, music is a sonic representation of the patterns of life. That's all I say. When people ask me, what is music? It's a sonic representation of the patterns of life. Because music is so vast, and yes, it can be noise, yes, it can be, when music has components that repeat, it makes it easier on people to lock with it. So it is a mechanism as well of synchronizing humans that are acting out of synchronicity. Like when you go to a punk show, you know, people get synchronized and they just behave in the same way. You know, when you're going to war, you get people synchronized to do something, you know, in the ancient times, you know, now you have maybe a different opinion. Do you want to share it, or? Yep. But look, that's a dangerous definition, because if I tell you the word блядь, I said a sound that transmits an emotion. I just said a sound, it's one sound, and it transmits an emotion. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can see it like that. So we're going to go to, like, where we're going to go if we keep exploring this rabbit hole is to understand that defining music is something kind of like defining love or something like that. These are things that are not product of the human intellect. That's exactly where I'm going. They are just, they exist in the universe. It's like a waterfall or the sea or, I don't know, a rock. It kind of, but we don't even know if it needs a human to be made, because we don't know what the animals are doing. So I believe that music is something as much of the universe as the sun is the universe. And it's not a human-centric concept. You know, it's something that exists in nature. Like electricity exists in nature, and obviously a nuclear power plant, it's something that doesn't exist in nature, but we create a nuclear power plant because electricity exists in nature. Like what precedes is the existence of electricity. Anyways, I was not expecting us to get anywhere with this conversation or to find an answer or something, because we will get a Nobel Prize on philosophy or something if we find the answer to this. But it's a cool conversation. It's a good way to start this topic. Like, what the hell is that? What are we doing? Is it old? Does it precede thinking? Does it require thinking? My opinion is that no. I mean, and I've seen it with my kids. And actually, I'll show you here are tales from my own experience. This is links, like, well, I mean, this is always like, I'm just being a proud dad here and just showing you, but I'm not telling you that he's making music or something. It's just like, I'm a dad and I have to show you photos of my kid. Like, that's how it works. But the second video is really cool.
Посмотри на меня. Ли-ли-ли-ли-ли.
Yeah.
Любовь наша.
So okay. This is more interesting. This is serious. This is serious, like total music producer there.
Talk.
And what he said is perfect. It's just. Еще покажи.
Давай другой звук.
Давай, поменяем?
Да, давай поменяем.
Да, почему надо поменять?
Хочу другой.
Хорошо. What музыкальный продюсер сразу. I don't pretend that they're making music or that they're not what they're doing or something. It's just interesting interaction, you know, straight with the equipment, straight with the thing. There is not a barrier or something, so whatever. So, okay, we're going to talk about music as a storytelling tool. So, well, of course, we're the product of constant evolution of 4 billion years. I love this idea, which is like every single one of your ancestors for 4,000 million years survived. All of them. They survived and they reproduced. Congratulations. I mean, Yeah, you may. I mean, this thing really. I mean, imagine try to imagine to hold something for 4,000 million years. Well, that's exactly what happened before your existence. I mean, everybody who was your ancestor survived, and they reproduced, and then you arrive here, and you're with your iPhone and Android using. I mean, you are. Let me see how I framed it. Every single one of your ancestors reproduced successfully in a continuous line that arrives to you today. iPhone, Android, using doll-loving humans. That's kind of how we are. And I guess that you can see the little tablet here in this person's evolution. So now, this is a traditional view of history. And I really want to make a little... как сказать по-русски, когда у тебя есть типа короткие дороги, путь, и ты выбираешь не короткий, но обойти, не знаю как. Клюк? Клюк. Круг. Ага. Круг. Okay. Я хочу сделать круг. I want to make a hook, and I mean, I'm making a big idea here. Потому что I really want you to stop thinking that we're in the year 2000. Like, I really feel that this is important, and that's one of the contributions I want to make. And you will see I will connect this with my music and why I have made this. So the traditional history of music is kind of like, yeah, there were some proto people 5 million years ago, then 3 million years ago, then 2 million years ago, then 1 million years ago. And then it kind of like, there is this period here, which is like 1 million years, which is like, and then 6,000 years ago, we started making pyramids. And it's like, okay, but what the hell happened here? I mean, there is this period of 100,000 years. I understand that there are theories and anthropologists and stuff like that that propose. Anyways, I mean, all of you say, I'm like, I was born in the year 2022, but you really don't know what the hell happened before 10,000 years ago. You just really don't have an idea, and you don't think about it, and you don't feel that it's a part of your life. And that's something that I wish I could change. And here I'm not talking as your teacher or as your program leader, as a friend. It's just like, hey man, like, think about this. You know, there was this 10,000 year period there, or whatever, 100,000 year periods that we really don't know what's going on. And so, has anybody here, does anybody here know who is Bill Wurtz? Nobody knows who is Bill Wurtz. If you don't know who Bill Wurtz is, you're about to have a pretty intense trip. So I'm really happy if you don't know who Bill Wurtz is. Where are we now? We are in a little moment in our class in which I'm talking to you about two ideas. Number one, stop thinking you're in the year 2000. Start thinking you're in the year 150,000. That's a cool thing. And the second thing I'm trying to tell you is music can be used as a resource to tell a story. And I'm telling you these two things. And it can be used so much to tell a story that you can even tell the history of the entire world, I guess. So if you have never seen this video, you're about to have some pretty nice trips. So this thing is long, man. It's like 19 minutes or something, but...
Hi, you're on a rock, floating in space. Pretty cool, huh? Some of it's water. Fuck it. Actually, most of it's water. I can't even get from here to there without buying a boat. It's sad. I'm sad. I miss you. How did this happen? A long time ago, actually never, and also now, nothing is nowhere. When? Never. Makes sense, right? Like I said, it didn't happen. Nothing was never anywhere. That's why it's been everywhere.
Please focus on the little nuances. You know, every note that you hear there, this person created for the purpose of telling the story. So everything, you need to pay attention.
It's been so everywhere, you don't need a where. You don't even need a when. That's how every it gets. Forget this. I want to be something, go somewhere, do something. I want things to change. I want to invent time and space. And I know it's possible because everything is here and it probably already happened. I just don't know when to start. And that's exactly where it started. Oh, I paused it. I think there's a universe now. What's it made of? Quarks and stuff. Ah, that's a thing. In a place. Don't like it? Try a new place. At a different time. Try to stick together because the world is going to get bigger and emptier. But it's not empty yet. It's still very full and about 1 jillion degrees. Great news, the quarks are now happily married in groups of 3, called a proton or a neutron. And there's something else flying around too that wants to join in but can't because it's still too... Great news, the protons and neutrons are now happily married to each other. Some of them even doubled up. Great news, the electrons have now joined in. Congratulations, the world is now a bunch of gas in space. But it's getting closer together. And it's getting closer together. And it's getting closer together. It's a star. New shit just got made. Some stars burn out and die. Bigger stars burn out and die with passion and make some brand new, way crazier shit. Space dust! Which allows newer, more interesting stars to be made, and then die and explode into even crazier space dust. So now stars have cool stuff around them, like rocks, ice, and funny clouds, which can make some very interesting things. Like this ball of flaming rocks, for example. Holy shit, we just got hit with another ball of flaming rocks. And it kind of made a mess, which is now the moon. Weather update, it's raining rocks from outer space. Weather update, those rocks might have had water inside them and now there's hot steam in the sky. Weather update, cooler temperatures today and the floor is no longer lava. Weather update, it's raining. Severe flooding alert, the entire world is now an ocean. Volcano alert, that's land. There's life in the ocean. What? Something's alive in the ocean. Oh cool, like a plant or an animal? No, a microscopic speck. It lives at the bottom of the ocean and eats chemical soup, which is being served hot and fresh, made from gnarly space ingredients left over from when it was raining rocks or whatever. Oh yeah, and it can do that. It has secret instructions written inside itself telling it how to build another one of itself. So that's pretty nifty, I would say. Tired of living at the bottom of the ocean? Now you can eat sunlight. Using a revolutionary technique, you can convert sunlight into food. Taste the sun. Side effect, now there's oxygen everywhere and the sky's blue. Then the Earth might have been a snowball for a while, maybe even a couple of times. It's a sponge, it's a plant, it's a worm and some other types of weird strange water bugs and strange fish. It's the Cambrian explosion. Wow, that's animals and stuff. But we're still in the ocean. Hey, can we go on land? No. Why? The sun is a deadly laser. Oh, okay. Not anymore, there's a blanket. Now the animals can go on land. Come on, animals, let's go on land. Nope, can't walk yet. And there's no food yet, so I don't care. Okay, will you learn to walk if there's plants up here? Maybe, said some bugs. And fish. Okay, so I can go on land, but I have to go back in the water to have babies. Learn to use an egg.
I was already doing that.
Use a stronger egg. Put water in it. Have a baby on land in an egg. Water is in the egg. Baby in the egg, in the water, in the egg. Works for me. Bye-bye, ocean. And now everything's huge, including bugs. Want to see a map of the land? Sure. Oh, fuck, now everything's dead. Just kidding, here are the survivors. Keep your eye on this one because it's about to become the dinosaurs. Here's another map of the land. Yeah, it broke apart, don't worry about it, it does that all the time. Here comes a meteor. And the dinosaurs are gone. It's mammal time, here come the mammals. Look at those breasts. Now they're gonna dominate the world, and one of them just learned how to grab stuff. And walk. No, like, walk like that. And grab stuff at the same time. And bang rocks together to make pointed rocks. Ouch. And set things on fire. Youch. And make crazy sounds with their voice. Knirsch, which can mean different things. That's a human person. And now they're everywhere. Almost. Ice Age. What? You can walk over here? Cool. Not anymore. Well, I guess we're stuck here now. Let's review. There's people on the planet. And they're chasing their food. Fuck it. Time to plant some grass. Look at this. I control the food now. Now everyone will want to be my friend and live near me. Let's all build houses, except mine is bigger because I own the food. This is great. I wonder if anyone else is doing this. Tired of using rocks for everything? Use metal. It's underground. Better farming was just invented in a sweet dank valley.
Well, guys, we have gone only through 4 minutes of this. You can get how amazing this is. This is really amazing, and it carries on, and it's really. I mean, it goes to the history of like humanity. I mean, like it ends like we are.
Hello? Yes, it's the 1920s calling. Let's get in the car and drive to a party and listen to jazz on the...
It's really the history of the whole thing. So that's the minute 17, and we stop on the minute 4. I really recommend you to explore Bill Wurtz. He's really wonderful, and he has a huge... Sure. I'll put it right here in the... I'm sure that I have some stuff for this. Like, I'm just going to put it here in the music for the soul thing. Wait, open a new tab, and let me just put you this there in. He has one called the History of Japan. That it's really good as well. It's shorter, I think. Yeah, it's like 9 minutes, but it's really amazing as well. Let's just watch like 1 minute because he's so awesome. And so
Japan is an island by the sea filled with volcanoes, and it's beautiful. In the year -1 billion, Japan might not have been here. In the year -40,000, it was here, and you could walk to it, and some people walked to it. Then it got warmer, some icebergs melted, it became an island, and now there's lots of trees, because it's warmer. So now there's people on the island, they're basically sort of hanging out in between the mountains, eating nuts off trees, and using the latest technology, like stones and bowls. Ding dong, it's the outside world, and they have technology from the future, like really good metal and crazy rice farms. Now you can make a lot of rice really, really quickly. That means if you own the farm, you own a lot of food, which is something everybody needs to survive. So that makes you king. Rice farming and rice kingdom.
Etc. It's really great. And he also has Like, I mean, he has a short songs as well. Sorry to make this, but you need to hear this. Mount St. Helen is an incredible, it's an incredible, I mean, he's making like art pop, but I mean, this is Mount St. Helen. It's a really special song. You see, it's like more like a single or something. And just check out how it starts. It's just the chord progressions, like the choices that he makes are really special. He's really special musician. Wait, Ladna. I guess that I will not be able to show you Mount St. Helens, but it's really amazing. Unfortunately, I think that I'm pushing too much the computer right now because I'm streaming and nobody's here. So let's just close this thing. Yeah, if somebody comes, we will open it because that eats a lot of RAM and stuff. The streaming. There is a new one, by the way, that he released like every once in a while. It's not so frequent when that he makes music. Mount St. Helens. Just check out so you can see kind of like how his music is. Like when he makes a single or something, it's kind of like that.
Mount St. Helens is about to blow up, and it's gonna be a fine, swell day. Everything's gonna fall down to the ground and turn gray. All of my friends, family, and animals probably going to run away. But me, I'm feeling curious, so I think I just might stay.
And to finish this,
The Dow Jones just fell down to 0, and it's gonna be a fine, swell.
to finish this this conversation about billboards, I love this reaction of this guy. Just look at this first moment, like, and then we move on back to our lecture. Sorry.
And I've been wondering if it's even still there.
Whoa!
It's really like that. When you start thinking about billboards, you're gonna see that it's another level of music composition and everything. So I'm gonna put it here in experimental, billboards. And there you go. Let's just put. I'll put mine St. Helens, and you get that. You get that there is other stuff of him. Yeah. The one that I showed you is the history of the world and the history of Japan. So safe. Okay, back to our lecture. So, all right. So now I want to tell you that something like around the year 2005. Now. Focusing your attention towards where I want to focus it, we're going to talk about the song of mine in particular and how I used music in a specific moment to tell a story. I showed you first billboards because, you know, respect to the man, you know, he's a monster on this. And then I'm showing you my example, not because I think it's brilliant, but it's because I can answer all the questions about how that was made because I made it myself. So I want to tell you a story of why I decided to write that song and that album. Around 2005, I have always been very interested in the universe and like in space and stuff and cosmos and all of this. And around 2005, I came across with something called the Younger Dryas Cosmic Impact Hypothesis. So nowadays, I take this as a fact, you know, and not only me, but a lot of people. And it's a very big, it's not like some crazy theory that I'm telling you that has no scientific backing. It's really serious. Like the long story short is that 10,000 years ago, most likely a comet hit the Earth. And in that event, you know, it's very likely that a lot of people died, obviously. And so I became really obsessed with this idea. I was like, wow, like, I mean, there is this piece of our history that we don't understand. You know, what is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of the fact that a comet fell on the Earth and that the people that are my ancestors survived that? And wow, like, I mean, I started feeling very strongly for those ancestors, and I was even more grateful, like, holy shit, like, you survive a comet just to save my diedushka, whatever, like, thank you for that. So I wrote an album that is called The Younger Dryas Cosmic Impact Hypothesis. Just, it's exactly about the fact that this event happened, and that, I mean, the album is not about that. The album is about the fact that humans survived that event and what is the meaning of the fact that humans survived that event. And so I'm putting you there some, like, I mean, the Comet Research Group is the official, like, group of scientists who are kind of pushing this idea. It's like a whole bunch of pretty clever people. And Martin Sweatman is one of the main guys that is pushing this theory. And that link is in my podcast. I interviewed him because I'm so obsessed with this that I got to interview him. I was like, hey, and I made 2 episodes with him. So I spoke with him directly, and he is one of the people who is pushing this theory. On the top of on the top of the North American ice cap. This is North America. New York is kind of, well, New York is kind of more around here. This is another photo, but basically everywhere around where New York, Chicago, Canada, all of this was under a 4-kilometer sheet of ice, like 4,000 meters thick, sort of. And that thing melted like in a month, the whole thing, because the comets hit the actual ice cap, and there is evidence, the craters are found. Like, it's just like, this is not like mainstream information right now. And if you, after I told you this, you're gonna go home and start researching things, so you're gonna see that I'm not talking out of nowhere, that there is really, really serious scientific evidence that the Laurentide ice sheet, which was covering all Canada, melted catastrophically in a space of a month or something. So it's kind of like, imagine all Antarctica melting like in a snap. And this obviously inspired me a lot. I mean, imagine those colossal icebergs like flowing in the world. And not only that, but imagine the people that survived that. Like, that was my whole point. And so the moment came in which I had to kind of like recreate sonically the moment when the impact hit the earth. I mean, in my album, you know. By the way, now that we are here, let me just show you a little, let me swap to me as a civilian. Man, I deleted my stuff from Google Drive, so I don't think I'm gonna find it now here. I'm gonna search just in case, but I deleted everything from, I used to have my document for preparation for the album, but yeah, I don't have it here. I would like to show you, but yeah, I really don't have it here. Ladna. So I created a narrative, like this is the album, the actual album. So I created a narrative which is like, I mean, all the names of the songs are books that are connected to the story. So Heaven's Mirror is a book by Graham Hancock, which is one of the people who is pushing this idea. Well, actually, not all the songs are named after books. Premonitory Dream is a song about kind of like, imagine that that the people who, some people are kind of like have clarividence and can feel the future. So imagine 10,000 years ago, somebody who felt like, holy shit, like there is something bad is going to happen, you know. And then I narrate in Querido Emperador, it's a song in Spanish. I narrate the conversation between a shaman and the leader of a tribe. You know, when the shaman comes to a leader of a tribe and he's like, yo man, like listen, you know, there's going to be a comet, like be careful, you know. The End of the World Party featuring DJ Mobley. It's a game that I'm doing there. Have you seen Mr. Robot? Anybody saw Mr. Robot here? Yeah, in Mr. Robot there is an episode in Mr. Robot which is called The End of the World Party featuring DJ Mobley, and that was a song theoretically where humanity finds out that the comet is really coming, you know, and this is what is going to happen. Then there is a song called One Soul. That is a song that I wrote to my wife, and it's kind of like, it's sort of like, kind of puts the story on the table, which is like, okay, the comet fell, and love saved a lot of people. You know, I love you, I'm going to save you, you know. So it's kind of like about how love can save you, right, and can save others. And then, I mean, because I'm telling you all of this because it's chronological. And then we arrive to cosmic patterns and cycles of catastrophe, which is the actual impact of the comet, is the moment the comet arrived. So here we go. Let's just experience the comet. And so I was thinking, how am I going to narrate the death of thousands of millions of people? Does it? And I remember I thought a lot about this, and I concluded that it had to be beautiful, that it didn't have to be horrible, because, you know, like when you see, I mean, of course, from the perspective of the death of one person is a catastrophe, but for us to have an atmosphere, there had to be collisions of comets in this Earth, and that's a catastrophic event. So there is a beauty in catastrophe. And so I decided to narrate the story from a beautiful point of view. So now I want to show you this, and I want to describe to you what was going through my head when I was writing it, and what is the meaning of that, and how you can use music to tell a story. So I had to tell you all this background so you understand what's going on. So let's have a bit of a listen. This is the moment when the comet falls. And I remind you, not I remind you, but I tell you that when you follow this theory of the Younger Dryad cosmic impasse hypothesis, you will realize that 2 comets fell. So you will hear the moment when the 2 comets fell. That's part of the factuality of the theory. And I'll tell you what does it all means. And obviously, after a comet falls on the Earth, it takes many thousands of years to recover from this. So this song narrates 10,000 years of history, kind of. Okay, so the first thing I want to narrate there for you, we were in the minute 110. Like, and I really made all these decisions aware and careful, and so please focus on this synth. This because that's the inevitability of destiny. I mean that synth, it just tells you like there is a fate that you cannot escape. You know, and you will see that it's across the song. And the second thing that I want you to notice is that the song pulsates and it starts accelerating in its pulsation because something huge is coming and we really don't know what that thing it is. want to tell you a commentary. After the second impact, I asked my drummer to, I mean, my drummer is really good. He's a jazz man and he really understands music very well. And so I just told him, please, I need a tom pattern, you know, daga do do ba boom, that it's not predictable, that represents the fall of civilization. So I mean, we need to, we got two comet impacts, now civilization has to fall. So when something like a ice cap of that size melts, what happens is that there is a lot of vapor released into the atmosphere, so there is a huge rain. And I mean, and oh, what a coincidence, like our ancestors have myths about floods. Oh my God, like what a coincidence. So when you go down the rabbit hole of the Younger Dryas, you will see that there is a lot of things that are not explained in history. A part of this, anyways, let's go. We started with fire and then we go to water. And so the next segment of the song narrates the reconstruction of civilization. Like, and the kind of the concept was to start at creating. I found like ancient I went to the library, to the website of the. There is a museum in Bogota, in Colombia. It's a very famous museum in Latin America. It's called El Museo del Oro. It's like called the Museum of the Gold, and it's a museum that has a lot of like pre-Columbian objects, instruments, and it's very famous. And so they released an Ableton Live pack with instruments that are like 45,000 years old or something that were preserved, and they made some recordings with it. So I started creating these percussion patterns that were disorganized, and then they started organizing themselves. Because it's like, you know, civilization is like that. It's like a lot of things that are separate, and then they start converging into one force. And the same synth that was on the back at the beginning, it's here again. It's like, okay, the fate is to continue further. Civilization starts again. So I guess you got the point already of what I was trying to show you. Just, I mean, that's not all the music I can, all the type of music that I make. It's just an example of abstract songwriting that is designed to tell a very complex stories like, hey, a comet fell, you know, how do we represent the death of millions of people? Should we represent this as a inevitable event of nature, or should we represent it as absolute horrendous, horrible catastrophe, which it was? But anyways, I mean, every time that you interact with me and we're talking about music, I don't care if you're going to do this through dance, pop, metal, rock, electronic. All I want is that we learn how to tell stories. And this is where this whole course is going. So this is all the information that I have to share with you. So these are, each one of those YouTube videos are like 3-hour interviews with the people who are kind of pushing this idea. So if you ever want to go down this rabbit hole, you have all the information there. So now let's continue with our story of music production. By the way, that's from a clip of Bill Woods, that little GIF. So now we're going to see like just kind of like a little bit of a musical history really quick, and then we move on. And tomorrow we're going to talk about technology, Imina, like what are, I mean, why consoles were invented and why tape machines were invented. Like we will stop this like big context and we will focus on the last 100 years. So I mean, these are really ancient instruments. I mean, kind of like the first instruments that people identify are kind of like 42,000, 43,000 years old. So anatomically, modern humans have been on this earth for kind of like 190,000 years. I already showed you this in our first story. The first lecture, the modern perspective of music, is the perspective of the recording medium, right? So the recording medium is a technology that we use to capture sound or a piece of music. And you will be using this word with me forever from now on. Like, what's a recording medium? What's up with the recording medium? Like, what's up? Like, so the first recording medium was the mind. I mean, because we were just remembering songs. The second recording medium was rock. Yeah, I mean, there are, you will see this in a bit, there are musical notation of evidence of music registered in Greek rock carvings. I mean, and it can even be older than that, but just saying. The second recording medium was rock, and the third recording medium was paper, or papyrus, or whatever you want to say. And the history of music, obviously, is the history of the recording medium. And then, of course, when you get closer to modernity, you have phonographs, RPM records, 72 RPM, LPs. And you're going to see that the amount of time you could record starts increasing, right? 4 minutes, 15 minutes. And obviously, this has a big consequence on how music is created and what type of music you're going to create. So this keeps going. We're going to study all of this like in a bit more of detail, but I was just kind of making the whole chronology here. And then we arrive to, bam, to the hard drive. Finally, great. That's where we are now, and then we can store hundreds of hours of music in a hard drive, and that's pretty cool. Now, if you can analyze this more carefully, you're going to see that there is kind of like the epoch zero, which is the oral tradition. So that, and this is really formally how people see it. You know, when ethnomusicologists and people who study this seriously, they divide the history kind of like in the oral tradition, music notation, and the recorded era. Obviously, our course, it's here. We will not talk, I mean, the only moment in our whole course together that we will talk about this is today, and then we will just make a zoom and look at this roughly 100 years of recorded era. Today, we're going to be like brush around the oral tradition, and the reason why I share these things with you is not because I'm an expert, it's not because I'm trying to educate you on these matters, it's because I just want to introduce concepts in your idea that maybe you will Google and figure out on yourself and discover, and maybe this will inspire you to write a record, maybe this would inspire you to learn something new. I don't know. That's what I want to find out. So the oral tradition, it's kind of like, I mean, I put it 195,000 BC till 1,400 because like I told you, I believe in this long history. It's not only I believe, it's obvious that there is evidence for that. And 195,000 is a small number. I mean, it should be 300, but I'm just being conservative. So, like we were discussing in that first lecture, this story, like, I mean, the recorded epoch represents 0.000666% of music history. So, I guess that there is a lot of music to study from that. And yeah, and I mean, I'm not have any pretension with this diagram. I just want to kind of like build the idea that the DAW epoch started in 1975. So, this means that the DAW represents 0.0023% of our music history, like I told you in the last lecture. And then, I mean, if you keep zooming in, you're going to see that there is kind of 730 years of musical notation and 134 years before the invention of the phonograph. So if you grab this little piece of time and you focus in here, there is 870 years of period since the invention of notation. So only 15% of this like moment in which we don't remember music, we don't store music in our heads, but we store something else. Like if you focus on the time in which we store music in something that is not our heads, the recorded history represents kind of 15% of that time. So that's not so bad. So there is a guy called Isidore of Seville. I mean, if the reason why I, as sound engineer, is telling you this story is because for me, music notation is the precedent of sound engineering. I mean, this is how music was recorded in the past. Let's record a sick tune. Okay. You know, and that's how it was recorded. So, I mean, for me, this is like a pioneer of sound engineering, right? I mean, because really he started the idea of noting something into music. Of course, this is an organic process that happens in many places at many times, but if you go and try to research who invented music notation, you're going to arrive to Isidore of Seville. So around the 17th century. Sorry. I'm telling my story wrong. Excuse me. This is a commentary. This is a commentary. Sorry that I got confused for a second. Songs are held by memory of man. They perish because they cannot be written out. Yeah, sorry. This is a commentary, excuse me, from Isidore of Seville in the 17th century, saying like, hey, look, music must be remembered by people because if not, it's going to end because it cannot be written down. And obviously somebody said, hold my beer, let me show you how to write down music. And this whole thing developed. So kind of like there is some evidence of music notation around Babylon. And this is around the year 1400. And this is the song that I was showing you before. Like, I mean, the first one that started the whole lecture. And I mean, basically, they are kind of like a culture that I was mostly using the diatonic scale. And actually, what you heard up there sounds like the diatonic scale in a way. And they were using an instrument called the lyre. And they were using this type of cuneiform writing to represent melodies. So there is some sort of evidence that even back there 1,400 years ago, there was some sort of recording. This is what I was telling you about ancient Greeks. Like ancient Greece was kind of like writing poems, and then it had this like they were notating with these little circles here, or that you see above the text. It's kind of like notes in an instrument or some sort of sounds in an instrument, like open or close. Or so the Greek musical notation was kind of used from the 16th century until the 4th century, kind of. And yeah, they were, you see, like consist of symbols placed above text that was kind of like giving an idea of what to perform. So all the way back to the 6th century, there was some sort of music notation. And many of you may have heard about Pythagoras, maybe, maybe not. But the point is that even guitars are based on Pythagoras' work. Pythagoras was one day listening the what's the name, the legend or the idea around him says that Pythagoras was listening to the sounds of 4 people like hammering metal, like ping, 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 ping. And he was like, hey, look, like if the stick is longer or shorter than the other, it makes a higher pitch sound or a lower pitch sound. So then he started repeating this idea with different lengths of strings. And then he find out that there is a ratio of length that produces some sort of harmonic or pleasant sound to the ear. And this is what is called the Pythagorean harmonic series. And this is still actual all the way till the present. I mean, we absolutely used the ratios and the approach that Pythagoras mathematically did towards understanding this phenomenon. And so he noted the relationship between the length of vibrating strings and the tones that they produce. And so he understood that those sensations can be harmonious or disharmonious. And kudos to Pythagoras. So I mean, this is connected. Nowadays, we understand that this is connected to the frequency of vibration of a string, and how many vibrations you can fit in a certain length of space. And we know that mathematically related numbers will produce something that is more comfortable to the ear than mathematical unrelated numbers. Like a 7 and an 11, it would sound a bit, I mean, if you grab something that vibrates 11 times per second and something that vibrates 11 times per second and you put them together, it would create cacophony for the human ear. But if you grab things that are harmonious with each other, you will get things that are consonant for us. And this is the underpinning of all music theory. It's actually the underpinning of all music theory. And this thing that you have here, this is the Pythagorean series expressed in a guitar. I mean, this is half of the length of the next string, and etc. Like, I mean, this is the totality of the length, and this is the half of the length of the string, and these two are octaves from each other. Like, these are things that Pythagoras understood in the 6th century. So, I mean, all I want with this day is, and with yesterday, is just to put a little bomb in your head and to get you out of the VK charts and the Spotify playlists and stuff for a moment, and just contemplate the huge landscape that you have in front of you. This is a little video, I mean, connected a bit with Pythagoras. I mean, I'm not going to play it now because we have very little time to go, but I would love you to come here and check it out. This explains very deeply everything I just told you about Pythagoras. And there is the math behind it. It's a pretty, I mean, it's like extracurricular material, but if you want to check it out, just, you know where the presentations are. And if you don't know, I show you again. Here, slides, click here. And you want to find Bill Woods, just come here and you got it here too. Like, I mean, it's all there. We are here. Sweet. So let's move on. I think there is one video here. I think it's this one that it's 1 minute that I would like to show. Let's look at this one sec. No sound because I think this starts without sound. Yeah. No, this is just those relationships, like. So it's an octave, right? These are all Pythagorean relationships. Octaves. Nice. So now we're jumping in a different ratio. Like this was the ratio of the octave. And now we're jumping the ratio of the fifth. Or fourth? Fourth, yeah. anyways, these are things that are just there for you to explore, to boost your curiosity. And of course, there is geometry in music.
Pythagoras, the Ionian Greek philosopher.
Just really come and check this out. Okay, so after Pythagoras and the Greek Empire, there is some evidence of Persians kind of exploring the idea of musical notation. And the person to pay attention here, it's going to be in the next slide. Basically, in the 6th century, the Greeks were kind of pioneering this, but the cultures around Damascus started to push this idea with Persian music. And around the 10th century, they were using kind of like already developing modal steps or things like that, which is pretty advanced in music theory. And they kind of like, I don't know how deeply they got it developed, but they have some proto version of music notation there already going on. And there is a person called Safi al-Din al-Umrawi al-Baghdadi, which is the daddy of ancient musical notation, and he was one of the Persians who was pushing this idea. And then, well, around the 700 after Christ, like there is this person and music theorist Isidore de Seville. I was right at the beginning. I was just confused for a second. He kind of like pushed this idea, and a person called Guido de Arezzo, that's the one. He's the person who is kind of considered to be the grandfather of musical notation. He's the person who started the whole idea and who kind of like compiled what was happening from the past until the present. And he just kind of like taught the use of solmization, which is the use of notation. The use of creation of notes based on an anthem by Saint John the Baptist. About Saint John the Baptist. And this kind of like gave the initiation of the modern musical theory that we know nowadays, specifically which notes we use and all of that. It was all conceived around a poem or, well, a passage on the Bible who starts like ut, queant laxis, re sonare fibris, mi, ra gestorum, fa, multi, tutorum. This is where your notes come from. Solve, polluted, labil, reatrum, sancte, Johannes. So, in this moment, all I'm telling you is like, hey, check it out. This is where your notes come from, and they come from this song. So, do, re, fibris, mi, gestorum, fa, between the 10th century and the 17th century, do was called ut actually for a long time, and eventually it was replaced with the word do because it comes from the Latin word dominus, which in Latin means the Lord. So the birth of our musical notation system happened around the period 900 and 1000 BC, and there is a really nice playlist here that I compiled for you with very ancient music. So yeah, you can find it here. It's really, really cool. There is a lot of stuff like this is some music performed with a Neanderthal flute from 40,000 years ago. There's going to be a lot of interesting stuff here, like some ancient Chinese stuff. You will see Peter Plingle here, like. Just check it out if you ever are interested in hearing some ancient music. There's a little compilation there. And so tomorrow we are going to focus on the epoch of recording music, which groups the period from 1877 till today. But tomorrow will be, of course, a much closer conversation to us. This was super abstract and super crazy. And whatever happened 10,000 years ago, was there a comet or not? But tomorrow we're going to see things that are closer to us, like gear, equipment, why this gear exists, like why this happened, what is the evolution of technology, and what does it mean. What are we're going to see? We're going to be discussing the understanding of audio, like as a phenomenon, how did it came to be? and kind of the arrival around 1877 to the invention of the first recording devices. We will talk about the Western Electricals integrated system, about the arrival of magnetic tape, and how did we arrive to the digital era. I'm going to skip this because I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. And yeah, that's kind of it. I think I managed to package it all. What I would like to take home for you today is that this story is very old. Don't forget that I think that music is an inherent thing, that it exists in the universe if there are no humans. I think that music exists without humans. I think that babies prove us that. I also wanted to introduce you to, in the middle of all of this, while I'm telling you this story, I wanted to introduce you to Bill Words and to how you can use music to tell a story. And I also wanted to show you, I mean, how I personally killed 250 or 300 million people with a song, and how would I approach to that. And then I wanted you to just to have a little bit of a feeling like, hey, you know, our era is very small, you know, we can maybe be a bit humble about that, and that ever since the 1400 BC all the way up till now, there has been people kind of thinking about how to record music into paper, and all of this story kind of ends with the DAW. Ta-da! And so that's what we're going to explore tomorrow. And then after that, we will start making music together, finally. Okay? So, yeah, I think, do you have any questions or comments? Was this like, kind of like, in any remote way, a good way to spend 1 hour and a half, or? Yeah, because I know this lecture is a bit weird, so I don't know if it comes well. Yes. Great. Yeah, it's a bit messy. I agree. Yeah, attendance. Thank you for reminding me. Remind me all the time, please. Please remind me all the time. Just wait a second. Don't go, everybody, because I'll check attendance quickly. Thank you very much. Just a moment, and I'm here in the first year, and производство. Да. Okay, so Ala Anastasia is here. I want to see you again. I mean faces, because I'm gonna remember them faster this year. Veronica, you're here. Great. Thank you, Nika. Alexa, it's here. Thanks. So Alexa. Okay, Anton, I saw you. I remember you. Great. Tatiana. Here you are. Yes. Barbara, I saw you here. Barbara, sorry. In Spanish, it's Barbara, like for sure. Alexei, you're here. Good to see you, man. Kirill. Kirill. Thank you, bro. Sorry, I still don't know. Fadey, I saw you. You're here. Good. Alexander. You're here. Great. Nadezhda, yeah, I saw you. Christina. Christina is here. Yeah, great. Katerina. Great, Katya. And then I have Elena also. I missed Elena. Great. Alexei Lavrukhin. So Lavrukhin, kind of like I haven't had him for 2 lectures. Natalia, you're here. Great. Mikhail, да, Lavrukhin. Нет, это другой. Да. Да. Mikhail Mikhailov. Yes, you. Sergey. It's you. Great. Yeah. Alexei Trebukov. Это ты. Полина. Fedorova. Where? Yeah. Got it. Sorry. It will take me like a month or something to learn everybody. Sofia. It's here. Great. Sophia is here. And Daria? Great. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming. Yeah. So Sergey was here. And I just don't have Alexei Lavrukhin. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Don't be shy.